Good evening. My name is Ranger Josiah Fan. I'm expecting to fraud detection in online transaction using artificial intelligence. Contents of the presentation, we have the problem identification, dataset description, factors considering the dataset, important features in the dataset, Bayesian theorem, naive Bayes, Bayesian networks, difference between the Bayesian theorem and naive Bayes, the difference between naive Bayes and Bayesian networks. And lastly, the references. So I'm going to take you through the slides, generally the whole presentation. So a problem identification, let me start by giving an example. So as we were kids, probably 11 to 12 years, we used to play online games. Yeah, and there is games that sometimes would require us to log in, email, and then you put in the credit card information and all that stuff. But I believe some of those websites were illegitimate. So by then I didn't have a credit card, so most of us didn't have credit cards, so you weren't able to continue after that step. Yeah, but now those are the ways in which people are being frauded online. In that you can make your payment to something illegitimate and you don't get the services you are paying for, and the money has been transferred to certain accounts. Yeah, so this usually happens when fraudsters get unauthorized access to person's payment information. Yeah, therefore, after getting this information, they can get access to your bank and then transfer money from your account to another account. Yeah, and this results into losses for the person whose money is frauded and breaches privacy. So the dataset description, a dataset of online payment fraud detection was obtained. This dataset was obtained from the Cargo website and it includes both good and fraud payments. However, the transactions with frauds were less compared to those without frauds. According to the research I made, most financial datasets have this imbalance where the bad transactions are less compared to the good transactions. Yeah. So I believe that's also the cause for the imbalance in our datasets. Factors for considering the dataset completeness. The dataset I'm using is complete with all rows and columns filled with data, no gaps, no missing data. It's all filled in. So the dataset is large enough, averagely between 300 and 400 transactions. Yeah, and I think with that we are able to have enough data to work with in our projects. Consistency, the data points in the dataset are aligning and in order. By consistency, I mean now supposing we have a table, a column, row column, a column account numbers. Let me say account numbers of the people of the account sending the money. Yeah, so it's consistent in that the column only includes the account numbers of accounts sending the money, in that you can't find that the amount being sent is found in the row of the amount of the account number sending the money. Yeah, and accessibility, the dataset is an open dataset. As I said, we obtain the dataset is obtained from the Cargo website, and this is easily accessible, making it easy to work with, in that it can be attained and it's easily reachable, accessible, reachable, and therefore it's easy to work with within our project, making project development easy. Important features in the dataset include the type. This shows the type of the transaction being made. Amount shows the amount of money being transferred from one account to another. Name orig shows the origin of the transaction, like the customer starting the transaction, the person sending the money to another account. And name list shows the receiver of this money, the recipient of the transaction, like the account receiving the money. Bayesian theorem. Bayesian theorem determines the probability of an event with uncertain knowledge. It allows updating the probability prediction of an event by observing new information of the real world. For example, if cancer corresponds to one's age, then by using Bayes' theorem, we can determine the probability of cancer more accurately with the help of age. But however, if you go back to this last statement that says it allows prediction of an event by observing new information of the real world. So let me give an instance, supposing a new trend came into the world whereby now cancer was more prior to the younger generation, like the younger people compared to the older people. So this is where this statement comes in, where it allows prediction of an event by observing new. This means it will be able to take in new world and now making prediction according to this new trend that cancer is now prior to also the younger generation. Naive Bayes. This, I think, naive, I mean like biased Bayes theorem, which involves a collection and classification of algorithms based on Bayes theorem. It is not a single algorithm, but a family of algorithms where all of them share a common principle. And this common principle is every pair of features being classified is independent of each other. By independent, I mean occurrence of this doesn't affect the occurrence of this. In other words, a naive Bayes classifier assumes that the presence of a particular feature in a class is unrelated to the presence of another feature. For example, a fruit may be considered an apple if it is red, round, and about 3 inches. But however, if you look at these features, they're all independent of each other in that being red has no effect on being round, and it has no effect on being 3 inches in diameter. Bayesian networks. Bayesian network is a probabilistic graphical model that represents a set of variables and their dependencies. Bayesian networks are ideal for taking an event that occurred and predicting the likelihood that one of the several possible known causes was the contributing factor. For example, a Bayesian network could represent the probabilistic relationships between diseases and the symptoms. In that, if given the symptoms, the network can be used to compute and deduce like which are the possible diseases a person could have using the symptoms, given the symptoms. The difference between Bayesian theorem and naive Bayes. As I said, naive Bayes is like a part of the Bayes theorem, but however, it is biased and it is conditioned that the events are independent, the features are independent. This means the relationship between all input features are independent for Bayes theorem, which isn't the case for naive Bayes theorem, which isn't the case for Bayes theorem, where features are not independent. In other words, they are dependent. The difference between naive Bayes theorem and Bayesian networks. Naive Bayes is a model that describes a particular class of Bayesian network, whereas all features are independent. Where all features are independent, as I've said in the slide before, where naive Bayes has all features independent. Whereas Bayesian network models a relationship between features in a very general way. Like, as you know, relationship, it models like, let me say, how this feature is related to this feature, and it creates a relationship, models a relationship in a general way. I think by general way, I mean by collecting, let me say, making a relationship between various features. Below are some of the references from where the data was obtained, Java Point, Geeks for Geeks, and Wikipedia. Thanks for listening to me. That's my presentation. My name is Sergio Joseph for Computer Science Evening Class. Yeah, thanks for listening.